Yes, welcome everyone. It's Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Clare. It's December 16th, 2019. The show is always presented by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find this show, a lot of great social media networks, and as always, a ton of great articles from a lot of great writers. marijuanatimes.org. You can find us there. All kinds of stuff there. All kinds of great stuff there, should I say. Congress dropping marijuana-related veterans amendments from new legislation. We'll talk about that coming up. Also, the State Department is warning travelers about traveling internationally with CBD oil, even if it's legal in the United States. And more raids in Los Angeles as they attempt to cut down on the number of unlicensed, illicit marijuana dispensaries. All of that is coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use harmful chemicals or banned pesticides. Be regulatory compliant in the state that you are growing, and all of these things are possible through the power of Natureside. Proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, Natureside. Don't forget, you want this hat, makecannabisgreatagain.com. Get yours, as the kids say. This first story is by Julia Granowitz at marijuanatimes.org. Congress drops marijuana-related amendments that would have benefited veterans, because we wouldn't want to do that. Veterans are awarded several government benefits provided by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, from health care to home loans. These things are rights earned by everyone who has served our country, unless you affiliate with marijuana in any way. Since the first states began legalizing medical marijuana back in the 90s, veterans have been fighting their own war to access the healing plant. Vets have even been denied VA housing loans simply for working in the cannabis industry. Of course, many veterans find employment as security for the cannabis industry, which requires higher than ever security, not only because of the product itself, because of the cash-only nature of many of the dealings. Representative Ruben Gallego said our nation's views on marijuana are changing, and the services have changed their recruitment process accordingly. The services can, when appropriate, grant waivers to former users of marijuana who want to serve their country in uniform. The House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. has introduced multiple amendments and various pieces of legislation attempting to protect veterans from being denied their VA benefits, but few marijuana-related amendments have made it through the House and Senate negotiations. For instance, this past summer, the House passed their draft of the National Defense Authorization Act. In it, they included an amendment that would have protected veterans from being denied VA loans despite their employment in the legal cannabis industry. In that same bill, they also introduced an amendment to allow military branches to grant reenlistment waivers to those who have been dismissed after committing a single low-level marijuana offense. But in negotiations, these amendments were apparently deemed not as important as others. They got mixed up with nearly 1,200 changes that were made before the bill was passed. It doesn't seem like it's something that would be that hard to fix. So it's not a matter of difficulty, but a matter of will, as are most things when it comes to the federal government. The will is not there. It's not all that difficult to tack an amendment on to something. They do it all the time. But as Julia said, it's not important enough to do that. To take the very little time that it would take to do it and add it and leave it there. Just to leave it there. It doesn't take any time at all. Just leave it there and pass it. But no. Another big screw you to veterans from the federal government. This next story from Forbes.com. State Department warns travelers about flying with cannabis oil internationally. The U.S. State Department is warning international holiday travelers that while hemp-derived CBD may be legal in the U.S., it can land you in trouble if you take it certain places abroad. And the State Department, TravelGov, this is their Twitter handle. This is the tweet that they put out. Make sure your gift isn't a fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-la fail. I don't know. I'm sure somebody looked at that and was like, man, that is clever. Send tweet. Bringing along gifts like drones, CBD oils, and firearms can land you in trouble in foreign countries. Research what is and isn't allowed before you travel. Well, it's quite a variety. Drones, CBD oils, and firearms. What am I going to do with all these drones, CBD oils, and firearms if I can't travel with them? So anyway, despite the fail of a tweet, if you will, It's a good thing to think about, because obviously people now, the TSA is allowing hemp-derived CBD oil on flights domestically in the United States. And there are cannabis reform efforts underway in a number of countries outside the U.S., including Mexico and Trinidad and Tobago. There are many nations that continue to prohibit the plant and its extracts, so make sure that you know which is which when it comes to that. This next story, final story out of Los Angeles, the LA Times, LATimes.com. Dozens of unlicensed cannabis dispensaries raided in LA this week. The state regulators mounted dozens of raids against illegal marijuana retailers in Los Angeles this week, the largest crackdown to date against the city's thriving black market, officials said on Friday, which was last week. The state has been under pressure from California's legal industry to do more to stop the underground pot economy, which in Los Angeles and other cities often operates in plain sight. According to some estimates, about 75% of sales in the state remain under the table, snatching profits from legal storefronts. Investigators served search warrants at 24 unlicensed shops from Tuesday through Thursday last week. They seized almost $9 million in cannabis products and confiscated nearly 10,000 illegal vape pens and $129,000 in cash. Jared Kilo, who headed the group, headed which group? See, that's what I get for not. Sweet's crackdown was praised by the United Cannabis Business Association, a Los Angeles-based industry group. Jared Kilo, who heads that group, said, "For a long time, we've been playing a game of whack-a-mole, targeting and shutting down a small handful of illegal shops at a time, only to have them reopen days later in the same location or down the street. For their part, when cops come in, they take everything that's not nailed down in an effort to thwart the reopening of said businesses." Alex Traverso, spokesman for the Bureau of Cannabis Control, said in California, "We have a challenge with the illegal cannabis market, and as we're trying to stand up the legal industry, we're also trying to minimize the illegal industry." So a lot going on in Los Angeles, a lot of unlicensed dispensaries still operating in Los Angeles, and they're going to attempt to shut them down. It's, I understand where the legal businesses are coming from, and it sucks. You know, I'm for more marijuana access in whatever form it comes in, but this is going to happen. If you have an unlicensed dispensary in Los Angeles or elsewhere in California, they're going to find you eventually. You're going to have to do something about that. You can't just sit there and sell weed on the street. You know, they have incentive now to come shut you down to help the legal licensed businesses that are paying taxes to the city that they work for, so they're going to come and shut you down. And to act like you don't know that's coming, or there's some big travesty of justice that you can fight back against, it's neither. There will be no fighting back, and you know it's coming. So do something about it. Or be rated. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. In a perfect world, everybody can sell weed for whatever reason, and then we have to worry about it. But this is not a perfect world. This is a world where if you're in a legal dispensary in a place like Los Angeles, eventually they're going to find you, and they're going to shut you down. We'll continue to follow these stories and more, of course, here at Cannabis News. 5 days a week we're here. Search the Marijuana Times on YouTube to find us. You can also search Apple Podcasts for the audio version. Thank you to Nature's Side, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you all for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Watching and listening today, of course, as well. Keep spreading the truth about cannabis with this show, if you would. That would be awesome of you. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.